itself. All right, I'm seeing us. Hopefully other people can see us. Nobody yet.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I should have removed it. All right, we are live. Everybody a minute to join in. Oh, looks like we got one person coming in here. This book must be slow today. All right, we got some people coming in. Cool. Welcome everybody. Just getting started here for our live Q&A. Give it a couple of minutes for everybody to file in, and we'll start taking some questions. Awesome. All right, looks like it's working now. I'm not seeing comments though. Let me refresh. I see Carolyn's watching. Welcome, Carolyn. Let's see what else we got here. I see Carolyn. Okay, cool. 10 people. Right on. David, welcome. All right. We got Denny. Welcome, welcome. All right, well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us this Wednesday, 1 p.m. CST. As we do this every day at the same time, this is our live Q&A, so welcome and thank you for joining us today. We have Patrick from our husbandry team here in the Wisconsin facility.
Hello.
And we also have Dr. Nick, who should be joining us here shortly. We'll wait for him to come online. We'll join him in here, but first of all, thank you all so much for joining us, taking time out of your the middle of your day or wherever you are to hang out with us. And it's a great time to ask questions, put them in the live chat, and we'll do our best to answer them. We have some questions here from the community, as well as kind of just generally speaking, things that we've run into that we're going to answer today. It's kind of a wide range of topics, so we do welcome your questions live here in the chat. Patrick and Dr. Nick will do their best to provide their expertise. And quick shout out to, we're really looking for your guys' feedback and your input and your questions. So we're doing something a little bit different now. Actually, on the website, we have a banner where if you submit your question via the form on that homepage banner, if you go to liveaquaria.com and scroll down right above our education center, there is a banner for a place to submit your questions. So what we're doing is we're taking questions from the community, and then we're actually going to be picking 4 of them, and then each of the 4 winners will, or each of the 4 people that we pick will get a $25 LiveAquaria gift certificate. So just a way to kind of incentivize you guys to provide your questions to us, and then obviously to kind of give back and hopefully give you guys some free money too, which nobody can't knock that. So without further ado, I think we'll go ahead and get started. I'm not sure if Dr. Nick will be joining us, but we'll give him a minute and then we'll let him in when he gets started. So first question, obviously for Patrick here. Recommendations for hardy, fast-growing corals.
So if you're looking for a coral that's going to grow really fast, like if you want immediate results, you're definitely going to want to start with soft corals. So there's a lot of soft corals out there, such as xenia, tree corals, toadstools, clavularia, like glove polyps. Those all grow really quickly because they don't have a calcified skeleton. So they don't have that. So it's a lot easier for them to grow. A lot of hobbyists don't like soft corals because they actually are so prolific. They can actually take over quite a bit of real estate. And, having an aquarium, you're very limited on real estate. So, getting something that's going to grow really quickly like star polyps or xenia, it's going to encroach on some of the other slower growing corals in your tank. If you're looking for a faster growing hard coral, there's branching Euphilia type corals such as hammers, frog spawns, Duncan corals, colostria corals, all that type of stuff. Those grow relatively quickly in the terms of, hard corals. Because they're branching, they tend to, kind of fork, and they'll also take up some more space too. But that's about it.
Awesome. We got some questions coming in the chat already, so thank you all. I'll take the first one from Carolyn here. They have a solar wrasse, not Solorensis, that we got from Diver's Den. He is from the Halichoeres family. We would love to pair him with a female. What kind of wrasse would you recommend? We haven't been able to find a female.
Well, as in pair, like if you want them to, cohabitate, you definitely have to find a female of that same species. But I mean, you could try doing. Halichoeres wrasses are pretty aggressive wrasse, so you got to be careful. They're probably going to be a pretty boisterous fish if you're going to try to do like a Synchiropus wrasse or a flasher wrasse of some type. For sure, because anything that's going to have the same swimming behavior, same body style, stuff like that, that fish is going to instantly target and tend to bully.
Okay. So Dr. Nick should be joining us here shortly. I'm just got his invite, so I should be letting him in here shortly. While we'll wait for him to get in, Kenny asked, there are only juvenile female dragon wrasse posted for sale on your website. Are there any male juvenile dragon wrasses?
So he actually submitted that question. So that's a great question. So that particular type of wrasse, unlike, or similar to a lot of fish in the wild, are all born one sex. So a lot of people know about clownfish. So clownfish are all born males, and the more dominant one in a group or in a pair will become a female. So for this particular type of wrasse, all those wrasse, the juveniles, are born as females. So they'll continue to grow as females and mature into an adult female. And if there are no males in the specific area when it comes to spawning time and whatnot, the most dominant female will become a male. So that's why you never see juvenile male dragon wrasse.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Dr. Nick.
Hi. For some reason, the broadcast didn't show up on Facebook for a while. I guess
Yeah, no worries. We must be having some delays. I think when we started the stream kind of hiccuped for a minute there. So glad you could join us, of course. We've already got some questions coming in. So I'm going to take the next one here from a Jacqueline. I'll pitch this one to Patrick also. Why do Mandarin always killing the other Mandarin? Or why my Mandarin always killing other Mandarin?
Probably because they're males. I mean, the males are very aggressive. They'll grab onto each other and kind of thrash each other around. Here we try to pair them up, or we'll keep other females together, but you got to give them a lot of room. They have a pretty unique diet when it comes to little copepods and stuff like that, so they can be pretty territorial. But the males are really, really nasty to each other. It's really bad. It's brutal. So if you don't know, males will actually, their first dorsal spine will be this massive spike. I mean, say a 3 to 4 inch male, his spike could be 2 inches high. I mean, it looks like a needle. It's really, really big. While females don't have that.
Awesome. Well, thank you, and thank you all for joining us too, and welcome, Caitlin. See you there in the chat. You're welcome, Jacqueline. Next question here, I'm going to pitch to Dr. Nick. How to care for your aquarium or pond while on vacation?
Yeah, that happens a lot. It's summertime, vacations, people are leaving, and what do you do with your fish? So my recommendation would be before you go, maybe like 2 weeks before you go, clean your aquarium, do a water change, clean your filter, make sure everything is intact and correct so that during the period you're gone, it's going to be stable, that the filter is not going to get clogged, that the water quality is good. And don't do this like the day before you leave, because first of all, you got plenty of other things to do getting ready for a vacation. But if you do it like a day or two before you go and something's wrong and now you got to leave, but you don't have time to fix whatever it was that you needed to fix. So first, a week or 2 weeks before you're planning on going on vacation, just do all your aquarium maintenance, filter cleaning, water changes, check your fish, make sure all the fish are healthy. Also at that time, find out, if you're going to have someone take care of the fish while you're gone, have them come over and help or watch or just get familiar with the aquarium so they know, what it's about in case emergency happens, and specifically show them how much food to feed the fish. You should then put each day's dose of food in a separate container, Ziploc bags work great. If it's you know, fresh or frozen food, keep it in the freezer or the refrigerator. Dry food, you can just keep it in the Ziploc bag by the aquarium, and put the label with a Sharpie pen or a sticker, put the label for the day on each bag. The worst thing that will happen is people trying to be nice will overfeed your tank, and they'll put too much food in, the water quality will go bad, and the fish will all die. And now you have a very unhappy person who is taking care of the fish. You will be very unhappy. Your fish will be dead. So overfeeding is a significant risk of happening when you're on vacation and someone else is watching the fish. So putting the food in a measured volume in individual bags. And the other thing I recommend is feed the fish less while you're gone. If it's only going to be, you know, 2, 3, 4 days, even a week, just less food per day, the fish will be fine. The only thing that would be problematic would be maybe baby fish, which have to be fed even multiple times a day. But most fish, while you're on vacation, if they're fed once a day and a little bit smaller than you'd normally feed, should be okay. Then Patrick had some good ideas about this as well, about not succumbing to the thought that the fish are still hungry. You know, tell that person that you know, you feed the fish, they're going to want more. Don't give in to the urge of like, oh, they're still hungry, let's give them more and more, because then, you know, they'll eventually get overfed. That's a great idea, because people who aren't used to feeding fish might think, oh, you know, I didn't give them enough, I need to give them more. And then there are some commercial vacation feeders available. If you buy a commercial vacation feeder, either the gel feeder or the calcium feeder, they're little blocks of food that gradually dissolve and release food into the aquarium. You need to test those, because depending on your water quality and the number of fish, they may not last as long as the package says they will. So, you know, if again, a couple of weeks before you go, you can put the food into your aquarium and watch them eat it. Don't give them anything else, and see if the weekend feeder lasts a weekend, or if the week-long feeder lasts a whole week. And you can also make sure it doesn't go bad or cause any water quality problems while you're still there. So those are an option. And automatic fish feeders are available, and these work really well. You can, again, buy them in advance so you can use them before you leave. You'll know how much food it will administer. You can set them for feeding 1, 2, 3, or even 4 times a day. You can set the quantity of food that's fed. They're relatively inexpensive. You can buy them for, you know, $10 or $20 up to $50 for a vacation automatic feeder. And some people use them all the time anyway, not just for vacations, just for convenience. But if you get one and use it before your vacation, you can set it to feed the right amount, and you know it's not overfeeding. And those are kind of my initial thoughts on that.
Patrick, anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're going on vacation, the best thing you can do is, like Dr. Nick said, plan ahead. You know, do your water changes in advance and make sure you got all your ducks in a row. And also find somebody reliable, somebody you can, you know, work with, and start working with them a week or 2 in advance. You know, make sure that you go over anything that real basic that could go wrong. And like Dr. Nick said, pre-measure everything, give them a specific amount, how much to feed, because yeah, the fish will con you into feeding them more. And then there goes your water quality, and then you'll come home to a complete mess. But yeah, you know, you may be an expert, but you know, your neighbor, the person you're relying on, may not be. So sometimes you just got to really break it down, you know, and just be like, you know, this is what you're looking for, A, B, and C, you know.
All right. I like the idea of a fish conning a person. Like, I have this mental image in my head.
I mean, especially koi. I mean, koi will just eat until they burst, you know, so.
Oh, yeah. Looks like we got kind of an emergency here. Brett in the chat, he says Regal Angel just got caught in the power head, and now it can't swim and it's bleeding. What should he do? Looks like it just happened, and it was fine right before that.
Yeah, that's probably a really, unfortunately, probably a tragic situation right there. I would get him in a quarantine tank with a very low flow filter, you know, maybe even a sponge filter would be best. Subdue the light, and just keep the tank nice and quiet, and then hopefully he comes around.
Yeah, if there's skin wounds or some kind of lesion, You could use a little topical betadine ointment on the lesion just as a skin disinfectant so it doesn't get bacteria growing on it. Also, getting a product like a Melafix or Pimafix, putting it into the water will help heal the wound and reduce the risk of bacterial infections on it.
Yeah, I guess he's wondering too, would moving him stress him too much, or?
I mean, it's going to be stressful, but at least he'll be in a quiet tank. You know, you won't have to worry about other fish picking at him, because the other fish might come over and start nipping at him. You know, especially if you got other angels or butterflies. I mean, they can't help themselves. They're pretty nosy. But yeah, get him in a nice quiet tank, you know, with low or no flow, and then just keep it dark so that way the fish can, you know, stay.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Brett, looks like you're already taking some of the precautions there. Really, all the best luck to you.
Yeah, ideally, you know, using the water from the tank to put into your quarantine tank would be the best type scenario. You know, if you have a 20-gallon quarantine tank, you know, take all the water from the tank. It'll act as a water change on your big tank, and that way you don't have to worry about, you know, the parameters being off.
Yeah.
And use aeration.
Aeration.
Yeah.
He's only got a 10-gallon QT. What was the fish again? I forgot already.
Yeah, I mean, a 10-gallon tank is fine. I mean, it's better than keeping them in the tank. I mean, I don't know how big the Regal is, but you know, if he does start eating and such again, you're gonna have to start doing water changes, you know, because that waste is gonna accumulate pretty quickly.
And if he's recovers to where he's starting to swim around and be active again, if the wound is just like a superficial abrasion, he might be able to go back into the main aquarium, but you'll have to watch and make sure he's not getting picked on. Yeah. Then one other question is, you know, why did he get stuck in the first place? Was there a problem to begin with? Because most fish are pretty strong swimmers where they're not going to get sucked up to a power head unless they were potentially already having some kind of illness that was making them not able to swim away from the suction. So that's something to consider.
Wow. Yeah. Good luck, Brett. Hope everything works out. Hope he recovers. I'm going back up here to a question from Carolyn. She has a beautiful scribbled female trunkfish in a 250-gallon reef. We'd love to get her a friend. Is there a fish we can recommend, or should we just try to get a male?
I mean, trunkfish are pretty social fish. I mean, you just definitely don't want to get anything that's going to stress them out. So stay away from puffers, triggers, bigger angels. You know, they should be fine with your more swimmy schooling fish, you know, wrasse, anthias, stuff like that. Nothing that's going to nip at the boxfish, because the last thing you want them to do is get stressed out. But yeah, any type of fish that's going to just stay out of its way and not try to nip at its, you know, fluttery fins should be fine.
Yeah. Dr. Nick, anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I agree with it.
Pretty much covers it. Yeah. Cool. Actually, next question from Jacqueline here. My 25-gallon tank, no matter how I tried to stabilize bacteria, I feel that it's always brown algae. She's always doing big water changes every week, and it's over a 1-year-old tank. She's using live bacteria. Maybe she's over cleaning, she's thinking.
I'm wondering if she has phosphate in her tap water. And we talked about that last week. Phosphate will cause algae to grow. So if you have high nitrates or high phosphate, those will be promoting algae growth. And you usually measure your nitrate, make sure it's not high. You can do water changes as the nitrate goes up, but we typically don't test for phosphate. But a lot of cities have phosphate in the tap water, and doing water changes will not necessarily remove the phosphate if it's already coming in from your tap. So you can get resins to remove phosphate from the water or chemicals that will precipitate it out. So my recommendation with that, if you're getting a lot of algae problems, would be check for phosphate as well as nitrate, and then treat the water accordingly. An alternative, you know, would be using RO water, which you would then have to use a little bit of mineral mix added into it to get you want to add hardness and alkalinity back to RO water. but if you're doing it the right way, you'll eliminate the phosphate that way.
Yeah, so it actually looks like she followed up with the fact she is using RODI water.
Okay, yeah. So that should preclude the phosphate issue. So the next thing is lighting. Make sure, you know, the lighting's not too bright. If it's brown algae, though, it's usually not associated with too bright of a light. It's usually more mineral mix. And we did discuss last time also some fish that will eat that, which might not be an option, but certain fish that you could put into the tank to help eliminate some of the algae.
Does the algae wipe off really easy? Because it could be diatoms, which are probably the easiest algae to deal with. Because there are, like Dr. Nick said, a lot of fish that will eat that. You know, snails love to eat diatoms too, as well. But yeah, lighting is key too. You know, if you leave your light on for in excess of 6-8 hours or something like that, you could be fueling the problem as well. You know, it could be overfeeding too. You know, that could be adding some nutrients to the water too, that's causing the algae to grow.
Cool. All right, hopefully that helps. On to the next question here. I'll pitch this one to Patrick first. Best all-natural method for removing Aiptasia.
Aiptasia. Yeah. So Aiptasia is, I feel like once you get in your tank, you're kind of always going to be battling with it because they're tough little pests because, you know, they get in all little nooks and crannies. They'll get in your pipe work, you know, all the pipes for the filters and stuff like that. So the best thing to do is catch it easy and to physically remove the rock that it came in on. You know, if you start seeing it throughout the tank, manual removal is best. You know, if you can go in there and just maybe if it's growing in the substrate, just scoop it out. But it may get to the point where it's starting to grow everywhere. So if it's a tank that has coral and such in it, you're going to need to do something that's reef safe. Pretty much all butterflies will eat anemones. They'll pick at them, but unfortunately, most of them are not reef safe. You know, they're not really specific to just, all right, I'm going to go after this pest anemone. They're going to start picking up the coral as well. But copper band butterflies, some of them are great at removing Aiptasia. Some of them could care less about it. It really depends on the individual, because we've had some here that do great, and we've had some that could just completely ignore the Aiptasia. Same thing with the Aiptasia eating filefish. We use those here in the coral farm. They're great. Most of the time they'll eat Aiptasia, and those are the ones that will actually move around from spot to spot, you know, because they'll actually clean out whole vats of it, you know, if it becomes a problem. And another problem is too with those is sometimes they'll pick at the corals as well. So you got to keep a close eye on them too. So sometimes they'll go after the big, like LPS, like acans and stuff like that. They just can't help themselves. Other than that, there is numerous products on the market that claim to be natural. A lot of mixed reviews. Some people love them, some people hate them. So there's probably a lot of user error there as well too. So
all natural is the best.
All natural, yeah. I feel like the bristletail filefish or Aiptasia eating filefish is probably a good place to start. You can buy, we often sell them as a pair. If they do actually start spawning, though, you got to be careful because they are like excellent parents. They really, really guard the nest, so they may terrorize the tank. So you got to be careful there.
All right, anything from your end, Dr. Nick?
No, that sounds really good.
Cool. Actually, we got an update from Brett. Looks like his fish chilled out, and hopefully he makes it. So good to hear. I hope everything works out. I see a question from John here. If unable to get RO water, is water from a water machine acceptable from your water machine? I'm not too sure what he means by water machine. Maybe one of you guys are familiar with that.
So there's a lot of places where you can go and, you know, you put the quarters in the machine and put your jug under and water comes out. Okay. And most of those, you know, it depends. It might tell you it's RO. I have a place by me that has RO water for sale, but most of the water they sell is filtered, but not RO, which means it goes through a carbon filter that takes out some impurities. It takes out chlorine, takes out some of the dissolved organics. It might go through a UV light to kill microorganisms, and maybe have a membrane filter pleated membrane filter to take out particulates. So you're getting nice water, but it's still tap water that's been filtered, and they use it for drinking, and it's, you know, it's safe for drinking, but it doesn't take out all the minerals. If you get either distilled water, which is steam evaporated and then cooled, or RO water, that takes out all the minerals as well, and those are, you know, pure water with nothing in it. And of course, that's not good for fish either, because the fish will lose all of their body minerals into the water if it's not, if you just put a fish in RO water, it'll eventually kill it. So if you're getting RO water, you have to put some minerals back in, depending on whether it's a freshwater or saltwater, what you're adding. And in saltwater fish, we use RO water because we know the salt mix has everything they need. So you're starting with pure water with nothing in it. You put the salt mix in it and you got a nice seawater mix. But filtered water from a machine is probably not RO water, but it is safe water to use for your aquarium, and it should not have any chlorine in it, which is our big concern. If you had a test kit at home, you could just test the hardness, alkalinity, and pH. And if the alkalinity and hardness are very, very low, 0 to 10, then it's probably RO water. If it's, you know, 50 to 100 to 150, then it's filtered water, but not RO water, and that would be perfect for your fish.
Awesome. All right, on to the next. I'll let Patrick start with this one. Benefits to periodically tweaking or changing aquascaping?
It's an interesting question. I mean, really, there is no, I guess, benefit to tweaking your aquascaping unless you want to change the tank around. I mean, if you're adding a new fish and you're worried about the current inhabitants, like, you know, maybe stressing them out or chasing them around, then yeah, go in there and move things around. That way it gives the, confuses the established fish, but also gives the new fish a chance to, you know, settle in a little bit, maybe find a little nook or, you know, hole to hide in while they get used to the tank. But for the most part, yeah, I mean, unless you're really like in the mood to change your decor around, there's really no benefit to tweaking your tank.
Yeah, I was just thinking it's back to some of the times I've had to, well, I guess more there were like times I had to change aquascaping because I was finding that there was dead spots or like detritus buildups and things like that. When I saw that course, that was the first place my mind went. Is like,
yeah, if you're starting to get spots where, you know, waste accumulates like in a corner or something like that, then you may have to adjust your power heads or maybe move a rock or a plant around or something. That way the water can circulate through there, because if waste is accumulating there, you might get some cyanobacteria that starts to grow there, the, you know, the red slime or green slime, and then, you know, that can get fill up your tank. I mean, some types of nuisance algae will also start to grow in tanks that really or spots that have stagnant water.
awesome.
Yeah, I like to do my tank. I typically about once a year will go in, and of course you're doing, you know, a massive cleaning, changing, cleaning the filter, gravel, vacuuming, and whatnot, and you can sort of disturb a lot of things. But I'll take the rock work out and kind of scrub it off, clean it up a bit, and the plants might need trimming or replanting, and so, you know, I can't say it's on an exact timeline, but usually once every year or so I'll go in and just do a re-landscaping, because especially with plants. So I have live plants in my aquarium, and as those plants grow, they change the look of the tank, and so now you kind of rearrange them to you know, put the taller plants in the back, and or sometimes you trim the plants into smaller pieces and replant those. It's, you know, more of an aesthetic thing for me as I go back in and I'll re-landscape the plants and the rocks, and you know, I don't know that the fish care a lot, but Patrick's idea about adding new fish and doing some rearranging to break up territories when you add new things, especially with saltwater fish, is helpful.
Awesome. All right, I see another question from Caroline in the chat. She says, "Hey guys, Toby puffers are my absolute favorite. I definitely have to agree with you there. They're definitely awesome. I know the importance of feeding them food that wears down their teeth. The last few we had got very skinny. I tried feeding them often, but it didn't seem to help. Is there a certain disease they are prone to?"
Toby puffers, I mean, puffers in general are opportunistic eaters. I mean, they'll eat pretty much anything. I mean, living, dead, whatever. I mean, they'll chew on rocks. I mean, I've seen them do everything. So, you know, with that territory, you know, because they have that nature of eating pretty much anything, they tend to ingest a lot of would-be parasites. You know, if they're feeding on a dead fish or dead or dying fish or weak fish or something like that, they may be ingesting some types of parasites too. So one thing I could say is that you could add some general cure to the food, especially when you first get in the first 30 days or so. So you can sprinkle that right on the frozen food. They usually love mysis shrimp. Sprinkle some of that on there and then, you know, feed it off, you know, sooner the better. You know, I would freshly make it. Don't let it sit out for very long because it will get kind of nasty. But, you know, with it, you know, sprinkle some on and feed it off in 5 or 10 minutes or something like that. But that'll actually get the medication into their gut where they can actually hopefully kill off whatever parasite is in that. So general cure is metronidazole and praziquantel, right, Dr. Nick?
Yeah, and it comes as a powdered form that you can mix into frozen food a little bit. And then trimming their teeth, the beak periodically to keep it shaped, which sometimes is easier to do or to say than do. But if you net them up and use nail nippers and just trim the edges, you can probably do that without needing a sedation, depending on how big it is and how careful you are. Otherwise, there are aquatic veterinarians that can help you with the anesthesia and anesthetize the fish and trim the beak to make sure that they're able to continue to eat. And then, Patrick, are there any prepared foods that would be helpful for them to feed to keep the beak trim?
Yeah, I mean, when you feed them, you want to make sure that you leave everything on. So, like, I often feed like raw shrimp that you buy at like the seafood deli or something like that. That comes with the shell on and, you know, the tail and all that stuff. Just give them all that because they'll chew through that and that'll kind of grind their teeth as well.
Clams
on
on
a half shell. Yep. They'll nibble on the shells. Sometimes if it's completely like an actual clam or mussel that you can buy, sometimes you can break the shell and let them do all the work. You know, give them a place to start, and then they'll actually kind of bore through the shell themselves. You know, just kind of bite it off in little pieces. You know, just let them do all the work. And I keep them busy because they're pretty smart.
Awesome. Well, I think that puts us at time. I want to thank everybody for joining us today for our live Q&A. As if you're new to this, we do this every Wednesday at 1 p.m. CST. So if you haven't already, go check out our Facebook events page where we have a recurring event where you can RSVP and, you know, basically get notified as soon as we do go live. Also, we have our live dive sale coming up every Monday. That's at 7:30 p.m. CST, where we're going to be offering you exclusive deals on Divers Den, WYSIWYG, Store Aquatic Life here. We just had one last Monday, and I think Brett himself actually got one of the items there. He said it was the snapper, I believe. So you be like Brett, join us in the live dive. We've got giveaways, we've got free shipping, we've got freebies, and then also you know, we welcome you guys' questions and comments. So head on over to our Facebook page, or sorry, our homepage, where we have a banner where you can click on the banner for submitting your questions, and then there's a form on our website where you can enter your questions, and then we'll put a list together for our next Q&A live next Wednesday. And if we pick your question, you get a $25 gift certificate. So we're giving away 4 every week. So that's $100 in total, 4 winners, $25 gift certificate. So definitely send along your questions. Go over to liveaquaria.com, click on the banner. It's right above our resource center, right above our articles. Come down on the page a little bit, but fill in that form, get your questions over to us, and then if we pick your question, you get to get a $25 gift certificate. So again, thank you all for joining us. Of course, thank you, Dr. Nick, for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us and answer these questions. And thank you, Patrick, also for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you.
All right, until next time, everybody have a great rest of your week. We'll see you Monday. Bye now.
Bye.